Respected Comrade Sudhakar, respected comrades, friends. At the outset, I thank the CR Foundation for giving me this opportunity to speak to you on the occasion of the 107th birth anniversary of our Comrade C. Rajeshwar Rao. Before coming to COVID-19, I would like to say a few things about Comrade Rajeshwar Rao. Of course, Comrade Sudhakar has said anything about. So, Comrade Sudhakar spoke on several things related to Comrade CR's life and struggles. Comrades, it's a great pleasure for me to remember certain things of Comrade CR. Now in Ajay Bhavan, I am sitting in a room where Comrade Sudhakar Reddy was sitting before me. It is the room Comrade CR was sitting. After Comrade CR, Comrade Indrajit Gupta. After Comrade Indrajit Gupta, Comrade Bardhan, A.B. Bardhan, then Comrade Sudhakar Reddy. Now I'm sitting in the same room. Now I understand what a big responsibility it is. How one should conduct the affairs without likes and dislikes. How one should have the primary concern for building, strengthening, and maintaining the ideological unity, political unity, and organizational unity of the party. This is a big responsibility. And when I started my political career, I read one book. I used to remember that book. I used to tell comrades. That is the book, How to Be a Good Communist, written by Comrade Liu Shaoqi. And the title itself, that book is How to Be a Good Communist. The very title disturbed me very much. It has been haunting, even today it is haunting me. How to be a good communist. I always hold the view, communist is a good one, good person, good human being. What is this, how to be a good communist? And this really brought me to understand certain things in life and in the life of Comrade CR also. Because we are all claimed to be communists, but nobody can claim one is perfect communist, 100% communist. We are communists at various levels, various degrees, because to become a communist is a lifelong journey. It demands the selfless struggle for the emancipation of all the people, and it demands one should be ready for any sacrifice, any amount of sacrifice for the liberation of the people. And this is a lifelong journey. And I was General Secretary of All India Youth Federation from 1975 to 85. I was in Tamil Nadu. I have come across all leaders from the national leadership. In fact, I used to be translator for many top leaders when they visited Tamil
This
Nadu.
meeting is being recorded.
And I came to Delhi as General Secretary of All India Youth Federation. And I was General Secretary of AIYF from 1985 to 1990. That was the time I had close working relationship with Comrade CR. Comrade CR was a great communist. He was a great revolutionary. He was a great human being.
The recording has stopped.
He was a great human being. And he used to live in Ajay Bhavan with his wife. And one day I was eating in Ajay Bhavan canteen. Comrade CR came to the canteen. He walked here and there for 2-3 times. Then he looked at my plate. Again he walked. He came back and asked, "What are you eating?" I said, "Comrade, I am eating my lunch. It is vegetarian lunch." Then Comrade CR again started walking 1 or 2 times. Then he came to me, bent to me and said, "You tell me which country has accomplished revolution being vegetarianism?" Vegetarian, you tell me. I laughed, and all the comrades sitting in the canteen, including Comrade Homidaji, everybody laughed. That was Comrade CR. Then he used to sit on the cement bench in Ajay Bhavan. One day I was in Ajay Bhavan. Several other comrades were with me. He started narrating his experiences during Telangana movement. And he said those days were difficult days, even no water to take bath. And they used to walk miles together. Then Comrade CR told me, there are some wild trees. And if one plucks some leaves from the tree and keeps them under armpit, it produces huge amount of sweating. Then we used to take a towel and rub it. That is our bath. This is how we lived and we led that movement. These are all small things, but these are great lessons. That is how I understand. Comrade CR's wife used to sit at the entrance of our party office, and I used to speak to everybody, and I did speak to her. And one day she called me, "Hey, come here." I went there, and she spoke to me in such a beautiful Tamil. "You speak to everybody, but you don't speak to me. What is this?" I said, "I thought the language will be a problem between you and me." "No, no, I know Tamil. You speak to me. You are speaking to everybody. Why can't you speak to me?" That is CR's wife. The husband, wife, both lived in Ajay Bhavan, and it was life. How can I say? It's a great life. One should try to understand how these people lived and worked. And I find Comrade CR was a great uh, human being. Human being. One day I listened to this from Comrade Arkishan Singh Surjit, the former General Secretary of CPM. And there was a meeting. Comrade Surjit was there. Comrade Bardhan was to come. I took my daughter Aparajita. She was a school girl. Then I introduced her to Comrade Surjit. He just put his hand on her head. Then suddenly what happened, I do not know. He had tears in his eyes and said, "Are Raja, I am telling you, we had party congress in Amritsar, 1958. Comrade CR came with his wife, and after the congress, he wanted to visit Punjab state. Then I said, why not? We'll go together. I also accompanied them. We had such a wonderful comradeship and wonderful relationship. Then he said, you people, do you have such relationship? Can you build such a relationship irrespective of political party, CPI or CPM? He didn't demarcate. He said, you comrades, the younger comrades today, can you have such relationship? That is how we should understand the how to be a good communist. And Comrade Rajshekar Reddy, he was one leader. I had a tremendous working relationship, and he used to be looking after Tamil Nadu affairs also. One day he came to Chennai and he asked me, Raja, we must go out. Where? I said, no, Comrade Sundaraya is in hospital. I must see him. And yeah, it is a must. Come, let us go. Then I accompanied Comrade Rajshekar Reddy. Comrade Sundaraya was in hospital bed. Maybe it was the first and last time I saw Comrade Sundaraya, because that was his, but they were the last days of Comrade Sundaraya. But the way Comrade Rajshekar Reddy was feeling and expressing his emotions, that he should see Sundaraya, I was overwhelmed how at this age these people can be so emotional, attached to each other. That is how I try to understand the comradeship and the one being a good communist. Then Comrade Giri Prasad, and he was in Delhi as Deputy General Secretary. And Comrade Giri Prasad one day came to my room, sat with me, and he said, Rajab, tell me one thing. How do you manage, how do you maintain your life with a small amount of allowance which party is paying? I never expected such an inquiry from any leader. He was the first leader who asked me, how do you manage to live with this small money, the allowance given by the party? That is the comradeship I must underline. And even I could see Comrade Dasari, and I met Comrade Dasari in Moscow in 1974. Then Comrade Dasari came to All India Party Center, and that was the time CR Foundation was being built, and Comrade Dasari took many efforts to have that CR Foundation, and it should have a purposeful work. All such things Comrade Dasari was doing. So why I am saying all these things? To be a communist is one thing which everyone has to continue to learn. Nobody should claim we have become 100% perfect communists, and it is a lifelong journey. And I could see with Comrade CR and other leaders such a wonderful lifelong journey. And when I got married, Comrade CR met us. He met me and Comrade Ani. And CR told, Raja, you are a party old timer. Now Ani is also party old timer. But how you will manage, you must plan it. Because we used to have red families in the past. Now the time is changing. And how you are going to plan your life, manage your life, you think over. That is the concern expressed by Comrade CR. So when I speak on CR, I have many things to say about Comrade CR, because I have seen him living, and I have seen him taking care and concern for young comrades, comrades. And in 1978, we had the party congress in Batinda, immediately after emergency. And there, Comrade Seer, I could see, I was delegate. That was my first Congress. Comrade N.K. Krishnan presented the political resolution draft, and Comrade Seer presented the review report. And I could see the involvement of Comrade Seer in building party organization, in building mass organizations, and the way Comrade Seer analyzed the ups and downs in party life and the success and failures of party activities, movements. I could see Comrade Seer as a great builder of the party and unifier of the party. And that is what makes Seer as a great leader, as a great human being, as a great human being. So I take this opportunity to pay my tributes, respects to Comrade C. Rajeshwar Rao. Fondly, we call him Comrade Seer. And Comrade Seer memory will be there always. His life will be there as an inspiring source for all of us, always. And the life of Seer is not just somebody is born, somebody dies. No, it is a life. It is worth of preserving, and the legacy of Comrade Seer, which is so worthful, which is to be carried forward. So Seer Foundation is doing that work. I'm very happy. I thank Seer Foundation. I congratulate Seer Foundation for organizing such memorial talks to keep this memory of Seer alive. Comrades, coming to the COVID-19, now all agree and all keep saying this is second wave of COVID-19. Maybe some people are forecasting there will be third wave also. We do not know, because what is this pandemic? What is this COVID-19 health crisis? Because we used to hear about Spanish flu. Even in India, we used to hear about cholera. We used to hear about plague. And we did witness what happened in Bengal famine. Now it is COVID-19. It is unprecedented health crisis. What is this COVID-19 all about? The scientists across the world, not only in our country, across the world, are trying to understand what is this virus and how it spreads, where it has originated, And many reputed scientists have agreed. It is a question, a reasonable question. One should try to understand. This virus has emerged because of the disharmony between human life and the nature. And there is a lack of harmonious life with the nature. So we should try to find answers from our relationship with nature, our relationship with wildlife. But at the same time, some people are saying, particularly the scientists in US who are close to the administration of United States of America, they say this virus has originated in China in a laboratory, and it has spread. As a matter of fact, the COVID-19, the first report came from China in the first week of January 2020. Then China tried its best to control it, contain it, and it has been doing this. As far as India is concerned, in the last week of January 2020, the first case was reported in India. But what the government of India did, because that was the time there were many agitations, elections, many problems in the country. And that was the time American President Donald Trump was visiting India. The Modi government was making all efforts to give a big red carpet welcome to Mr. Trump. Namaste, Trump. That was the campaign they built up. When he landed in Ahmedabad, the Modi government already built a long wall to hide the slums from the eyes of Trump. That is how this government, Modi government, was doing everything possible to please the American president, Donald Trump. And there was no preparation.
This meeting is being recorded.
There was no preparation to counter the coronavirus. And we could see. And that was the time the Delhi citizens were agitating against Citizenship Amendment Act. And the Modi government was keen to suppress that movement, crush that movement. Finally, what happened, we all know. And the activists are facing sedition charges in Delhi. That also we know. That was the time Delhi elections were there. And Modi government, the BJP, RSS combined, tried to communalize the whole situation in Delhi for the sake of taking electoral benefit, political advantage. So Modi government, in fact, failed to create adequate safeguards and adequate preparedness. It failed. And immediately, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, announced lockdown, which led to unprecedented huge devastation. And the worst sufferers were the ordinary working people in informal sector, the small and medium sector, and the working people even in organized sector. The country witnessed the long march of migrant laborers, men, women, children, walking miles together to reach the their native places. So that was the devastation caused by Mr. Modi and his government because of lack of adequate preparedness to contain the coronavirus. And while I say this, as people who believe in science, we should know how this virus emerges. And that is why even the United Nations, World Health Organization, it has said one should not politicalize the virus origination and spread. One has to go into the roots, and the international community will have to collectively put its efforts together to fight this virus. But there are people in US, they are trying to politicalize, and they think it has all emerged from a lab. But what other scientists are saying, one should try to understand the relationship between nature and the human life. Now there is a discussion. It could have been from this bat. It could have come from bat. Earlier plague, it was said it came from rat, the dead rats in the house falling. And such theories are going on. There are multiple theories on this virus. But what we should understand, it was great Engels who talked about dialectics of nature. He was the first to really a methodical dialectical approach. He evolved, and he only said, if at all the life should move on, there should be balance between land, water, air, and people. And there should be a balance. Whenever this balance is disrupted, you are no other option. You will have to face the consequences. The consequences will be bad. Now we are discussing the global warming. We are discussing ecological crisis, environmental crisis. These are all the consequences of the imbalance between land, water, air, and people. And it was Engels who first pointed out. And this is the thing which scientists must understand instead of politicalizing the issue.